Hi, everybody. Welcome to American Idol Unaired. I'm your host, Bennett Shear, and I'm very excited because this is the 50th episode of American Idol Unaired, and we have a very special guest. Please welcome Tyler Christian.
Howdy, how you doing?
I am so pumped that you are here for this 50th episode of this podcast because when I discovered your voice, Tyler, I knew I had to get you on the show. And so to have you here for the special occasion, it's really an honor.
Thank you so much. It's so like cool to be talking to you because I've seen like so many of your videos and like so many of my like friends and like I guess like camera mates that I was like filming with. Like I've seen you talk to them and it's been so cool to kind of watch you kind of just like dissect the process. And I'm happy to be here.
Oh, well, thank you for watching. And yeah, I discovered you from Grace Pearman, who I talked to a couple months back. We had such a great time. And that's what's been amazing about doing this show is really getting to know everybody and then knowing their friends. It's just been a really fun adventure. I cannot wait to keep going on this adventure. I would love if you could give us kind of an introduction that we didn't get to see on American Idol.
Yeah. So my name is Tyler Christian. I am currently living in Boston, going to Berklee College of Music. It's my last year, thank God. But I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I sing. I'm non-binary, which means I go by they, them pronouns. And yeah, I'm a like new and upcoming artist, and I have things on the way, and that's my little spiel about me.
Tell me more about what got you into music because I really want to go back to the beginning of your journey.
So I so I found out I could sing probably around like 11 or 12. I had no concept, but like prior that I could sing, even though like my dad's side of the family, they all sing and everything. But you know, because at first I was gonna be like a either an architect or a space scientist. I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, oh wait, I can sing. I was like, cool, whatever. But I didn't want to join chorus just yet, um, because at that point, my thought process was, oh, chorus is gay, and obviously, look at me now. No, I was kidding. But so I joined band first, and I played saxophone. And then my friends were like, hey, you should join chorus. And I was like, no. And I kept saying no. And then they kind of, at the end of sixth grade, going into seventh grade, they forced me to go up and sign up for the sheet for the choir. And then I joined and I was like, oh, this is actually the best thing ever. And I kind of never looked back. And then I was, like, it was kind of like throughout middle school, I was like, okay, this is like, music is like really, really cool. And then in high school, I went to a fine arts magnet high school. So it's still like a public school, but there's a fine arts magnet like program within that school that kind of alters like at least our schedules and our kind of course life throughout high school. I think like like halfway into like my freshman year of high school, I was like, yeah, I was like, there's like nothing else that I could be doing. And then I went back and forth from wanting to do a cappella and like being a group like pentatonics to doing like possibly like musical theater. And then I was like, no, I hate not like not hate, but like I was like I think I was like, ooh, like what about if I was like my own artist and had like music out, but I had no concept of how to do that. And now I'm here at Berkeley somehow with music out and I do things. So
Wow. Architecture, space design, and singing. How do we get from point A to point B? Point A, are you just a kid that was curious and wants to do sciencey things? Like,
yeah, so I'm not sure. Like, I'm very like geeky about very specific things. So like, I like love math and I love science a lot. And as a kid, like, I was my first like talent that I knew of was like art and like drawing and like painting. That's what I did probably from like age 3 of like until like 14. And I was gonna do something within that realm. So at first, I got into drawing by doing like I would like draw like mock-ups of like rooms and like houses, like designing, and then that got me into wanting to do architecture because I was like, oh cool, like I like the like creativity of like building like structures and like houses, but also like the artistic side of like making like a like work of art. I would look at like people like Frank Lloyd Wright and like those people that would just like make these like really cool like structures and like houses. And then space science, I've just always been obsessed with like space, and I was like, it's just so cool. So I was like, am I gonna do one or two of those things? But then I think when I found out like music and I found out that I was like that I could be a part of it and like I wasn't like bad at it. I was like, wait, like there's just it's something so special about music that kind of just I never had to question that this is what I wanted to do. Like once I like found it, I was like, yeah, there's no question about it. And I've learned not to question things, and I just kind of if I feel like it's the right thing, then I'm gonna go with it.
We briefly touched on how architecture is artistic, and I think that those kind of beginnings sort of showed that you had this creativity in you from a young age, and music takes that to a whole nother level. But I really feel like you started out having a vision, whether it was for a house or I think that thinking about space, there's so much curiosity because there's so much unknown, and I think that as an artist, you want to tap into things where you're kind of unearthing these feelings that you have, or you want to explore different sounds that maybe other artists haven't explored before. You want to be that person to come up with this new melody. You want to be that person to have a new sound, kind of like an astronaut wants to go and find new things in space. I feel like there could be some connections with your childhood to music. And I feel like I sound like a therapist saying that connections to your childhood with
Yeah,
music. But seriously, I mean, maybe there's that career track that all made sense from the very beginning.
yeah, I think yeah, because I've always been like very like creative and like, oh, let's do this thing, or like I would as a kid I was really into like Legos or even like model cars, and I would kind of make these like just like I would just like kind of like go into like a whole new like world, I guess. And I was just so I like I'm not like super like businessy side of things. Like I've like even like as far as like space science and like or like architecture, I was always more on like the artistic side, and then I was gonna have someone who could like oversee all of because I'm like if you give me like business stuff, I'm like hey, don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I think it's interesting how like that like kind of train of thought and like kind of like piece of myself has just been like a constant throughout like my life. Like it's just like I've
Hmm.
always been like wanting to like create something or just especially with like music, especially like like exploring new things. And I think it also just gives me an opportunity to like constantly learn because I just I love learning and I feel like there's never enough that like I can know or like be good at. So I think it's also just like a way to be like, oh, like what can I like every time I finish a song, like I just finished my first album slash EP and it'll be out soon. And I, because now I'm like, okay, well, cool. I did that. Now what else can I do?
Hmm.
That's gonna like excite me, like be something like a new journey. Yeah.
So you get to Berklee, and there's a lot of stuff you have to learn about the business. And really, there's so many pieces of the puzzle that you probably didn't know how to put together because, as you said, uh, there is a lot to learn, and you have the creative vision, but they really teach you how to put that into a full package. So I'm sure it was exciting to kind of sort of arrive someplace where it was like, hey, kind of a new point A to point B. We're going to show you how to take this vision and combine it with what it really takes to enter this into the music industry.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely very like, getting to Berkeley was so humbling because I got there and there were so many people that could do what I could do and better, not only artistically, but also like business and like marketing and just like strategy wise, that like things that I had never been exposed to because it was my first time trying to like create a lane for myself as Tyler and not as this person a part of this high school group or this high school choir. So it was a very new experience. I mean, and I was like, okay, cool, and I kind of sat down and I thankfully have a lot of friends here that are a bit more like better at the business stuff that I just have like learned from or they've taught me. And then I also took like one or two business classes like my first year at Berkeley because I was like, okay, like I want to have some understanding because I'm very like I want to like be able to do like everything myself if I like need to. So I was also really big on just being self sufficient and being very educated because I wanted to make sure that I knew my stuff and that I like just was going about things that are the best way for me. So it was definitely quite the learning curve to like because like I think as a musician I want to just be like okay cool I want to sing some songs and like play some shows but then I have to go, oh wait, before I can do that, I have to create like a marketing plan and like strategize and like be a bit more businessy and like figure out how I'm going to make that happen.
Hmm.
So it's definitely been a hard but fun process since coming to Berkeley.
Probably a lot of similarities between Hollywood Week on American Idol and arriving at orientation for Berklee College of Music, where all of a sudden you realize that you were in an environment with all these other people that are doing the same thing as you. And they're also doing it in a different way because they've got different genres, different styles. They come from all different walks of life. And yet it's like, I'm home, right? Because you're with all these other people that have the same goal as you.
Yeah, I think Hollywood Week wasn't as like wasn't as like stressful, if that any. I had a pretty good, because I think the difference with like orientation week was that like that was my first time being exposed to that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, cool, I'm at college and I'm like an adult, and now it's like all these stuff, and whereas like going to Hollywood was like, okay, cool, like I kind of have an understanding of like what is gonna be the vibe, and I can kind of like gauge, like what's gonna happen, kind of like what I'm here for. I think there's definitely the part that was more like just like not even like stressful, but like just like new to me was just like being a presence for like possibly like a large amount of like people like watching, and like having them be like, oh, can you like tweak this or whatever. I think that was kind of more the just like the new thing, not and like less of being like, oh, like it's a new place, because I was like, okay, cool, it's Hollywood. There's gonna be a bunch of me's in like various genres and like shapes and forms. So yeah,
Is it through your work with school that the show found you and discovered you for the show?
I believe so. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that's what it is, because a bunch of Berkeley kids get like reached out to. My friend Grace Kinsler was on the previous season before me. And like Anna Lee and like all those like dope people. But I believe it's Berkeley, because one of the casting directors DM'd me. It was like, hey, no, because I auditioned for the first time in 2020 for the producer round, and I didn't get through to that. And
Mm.
then she asked me next year, like that last year, and I was like why not? Like I don't have anything like to lose. So and then yeah, and then I got somewhere, so that was cool. But yeah, it was probably just through Berkeley or something like that. Yeah.
I did not know that this was your second time attempting to be on the show. How do you feel like maybe in the year between the first call with the producer and then the second call, obviously you got on the show the second time, but how do you feel that you grew from one year to the next?
I think just like I just as a began to like understand myself as an artist and as an individual a lot more than I did in 2020. Um, so because I feel like in 2020 was also the year that I like realized and also came out as non-binary. So I was kind of like, okay, well, like, this is like a new like world for me in a sense. I was like, like what does it mean for me to now exist as someone who doesn't fit a gender, and kind of like what does that mean for my artistry as my person, and kind of like finding myself again in a sense, like within that realm that kind of fit me better. And I think in 2021, I think I had more time to kind of just like sit with myself. At that point, like I had like a couple of my songs produced and like ready to go. So I was kind of more, I was kind of like I was like figuring out who I was as an artist, and I think it probably showed. Sorry for the ambulance.
That's okay.
Austin is so tasty.
It adds to the experience of the interview. We know you're in a city.
They're like, wow, that gets to know you. Yeah, but yeah, it just I think I had a better understanding of who I was, which like inadvertently and like subconsciously kind of like came out through my either my singing or the way I present myself. But I think even like to kind of tag on to that, like the person that I thought I was at the time when I was filming, great. Still, where are you going? Is my question. Like you've not moved,
We have
but
sound
yeah,
effects for the 50th episode of Idol Unaired. I mean,
yeah.
we need
Um,
bells and whistles, right?
hey, but yeah, but the person that I think that I was back. Like I'm so much more sure of myself like right now than I was this time last year when I got told I was going to be on the show. Um, but I, you know, I think even next year I'll be like, I thought I knew it, but I don't. But like, you know,
Right.
at least for it, I'm kind of like, it's just each year like the pieces come more and more together, and I think that's what it was. It was just like just had a better grasp of who I was.
The personal journey you were on in 2020 to come out as non-binary, I'm curious how much music played a role in that time for you. If you used music as an artistic expression, whether it be writing songs that kind of express what you were feeling, if that was sort of a thing that you relied on, whether it was expressing yourself to others or just you in your room writing about your own feelings just for yourself.
Um, I don't think it affected it like my gender affected my music too much. So when I found out I was non-binary, it took me like a total of like 5 minutes, because I saw the I saw the word and like the concept applied to this like one actor that I watched in this show. I forget what it was. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I, you know, at first it was amazing. I was like, okay, it's cool. And I was like, nah, that probably like isn't like me. Um, because I thought I was, you know, I thought I was just like probably like a more like effeminate man, and it wasn't like whatever. But then I kind of like came back to it in like July, June of like 2020, and I was like, let me actually like think about this. And I was like, okay. And I thought about it and thought back to like kind of like all the things like whatever, and I was like, okay, I'm a binary. And then it was kind of just like that easy. And I was like, okay, cool. And that was kind of just like, okay, cool. That's an extra piece of me. And I think because that like 2020 is like when I like really like started writing music, because I wrote my first song in 2019. So I'm still pretty new to the like to like this like writing songs. So I was just more so trying to understand how to write songs, and at the same time how to write my stuff, and how to kind of like make something that I, because like there's always a sound that like I hear and hear that like no one else like off rip can like replicate. So I would like produce my own like little tracks first that kind of like gave a shape of. So I was, so I think I was kind of more focused on just like figuring out how to write songs. Um, and I don't think my gender plays it like I acknowledge like my gender and kind of like my like identity, I guess lack thereof of gender. Um, but like I just kind of like I see it as like, okay, cool, this is a part of me, but I don't necessarily, and I never like wanted that to be like the focus, and and I and I love and support when people do, but I think just for me in my artistry, I never wanted to feel like this is my artistry. It's simply just this thing, and because I was like, cool, like I want this to be a part of me that you can appreciate, but it doesn't necessarily coincide with my music. I'm just like writing music, like that I write, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and I think, at the same time, everything does happen for a reason because you had to go on that journey, and I think that as you said, you are a constant evolution. No matter when you get to a place in your life where you feel like, okay, I understand this part of myself, you're always going to evolve in other ways. I think we all are going to evolve in all kinds of ways no matter what we do in life. So, next year you could be a different person the following year, and I think that we
Yeah.
all are always trying to improve. That being said, it sounds like things kind of happen for a reason getting onto Idol the second year because figuring some other stuff out on your own probably helped you even more with the show the second time because maybe you felt more sure of yourself and you knew more of who you were as an artist.
Yeah, I definitely think, yeah, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And I think that also kind of helped me pick like song choice, and like I kind of had a better understanding of my voice at the time, because like I was trained in high school as like classically as like a baritone. And then I got to college and they were like, hey, you're a really high tenor. And I was like, cool, got it. So it's kind of like I was also like unlocking this like part of my voice that I was like that like always like was like there, but like just like wasn't like nurtured. So it was also during that time when I was like trying to like like nurture that part of my voice when I first auditioned. That it was it was just like not like you could tell that I was like it wasn't just like home for me yet. And like now I'm like this is like like now like that's like I sit a lot higher because I'm like it just feels better like to be in that area. So I think it was also a combination of that, but then also me learning to understand my voice and how it works because that is a very very important thing.
Yeah, the voice is another thing that is always evolving, and I think that's what's wild too is that you have singers who audition for the show, don't make it, come back, and the voice changes. Not they don't just change as a person, they don't just get older, but their voice matures, their voice goes through things. I've heard of contestants who actually have gone through a lot of vocal challenges, vocal health issues, and sometimes they have to recover. So there's all kinds of scenarios where, you start off in one place and come back in a completely different place just vocally on top of all the other things that make you different from one season to the other. I think that's something that's really interesting is it's the same person and yet they can do so much more with their voice.
Yeah, the voice is it's such a crazy instrument because like the fact that we like only have like one is so annoying because you have to like I mean but like we have to take so much care of it and like learning how to care for your voice is like one thing but like the way I sing now compared to like last time I was like when I was on Idol like I would look back at like if I were to watch videos now I'd be like that's like you're doing that all wrong. So I think it's so crazy how like the voice just like matures like with your body because I think no other instrument has the same kind of like growth or like process through life because it's just yeah it's insane. But I think that like vocally like when I made it on I was in such a like better place than I was vocally than like 2020 and but even now I'm like thinking back to like when I was like practicing in like the shower like for like genre round of Hollywood Week and I was and like thinking back I'm like that was so wrong and it was just it's like crazy to kind of like be like okay cool like I have a better understanding of like what I need to do to kind of be able to use my voice the way it's supposed to be used.
Hmm. Well, I would love to start diving into the different rounds that you made it through and starting off with what none of us saw, even if you had aired, which are the producer auditions. I want to hear about your song choices that you had to sing virtually.
Yeah, so for the producer auditions um I sang "For Anyone" by her, which is like a beautiful song. It's kind of like a mid low tempo kind of like R&B ballad, but like also like not ballad. It was anyways, yeah. And then that was like my like first choice because it just like vocally it's just so good and so sweet and it's like right in the sweet spot. And then the second song I did was this one was a risk. I was like I don't know. I did "Deja Vu" by Olivia Rodrigo.
Mm.
Just I can't even tell you why. I was like, yeah, this one is cool. And they were like, they kind of recommended that they may want to hear something more pop and kind of like, uh diverse. I was like, okay, cool. So I did that and that was pretty cool. And then I did a third song that for some reason could not tell you what it was. It was something though. But those are like the two like those are like the first two picks. Um, yeah, they were like kind of in like this like the same tempo range, like kind of like groove range, but like vastly different in like sound and like the way it invokes emotion. Um, and hey, they really liked the Her song, which I was happy because I was like, they may not know this song. They may be like, oh, this is too like obscure, but they're like, oh, this is cool. I was like, okay, dope. So yeah, so that was my producer round, like on over Zoom.
Did they give you much feedback? Like, before you even make it to the judges, did the producers did they give you specific feedback?
I think it was just like around the realm of like just like kind of like trust yourself and be more confident in like your choices. I think was kind of like the overall thing that they kind of gave me. I believe, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, you made it to those judges' auditions, and I gotta imagine for everybody that it's surprising, but I also want to kind of know your individual feeling because I really do wonder for each contestant, that's a different experience. The reaction that you have when Megan, the showrunner, tells you you're going to possibly be on television. What were you feeling in that moment?
Um, so I'm a very like calm, neutral person about most, if not everything. I don't know what it is. I just like I'm like cool. So they told me, and I was like, cool, thank you so much. And I was, I was very just
Right.
like calm. And I told mom, she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, possibly gonna do it. She's like, I was just kind, I kind of just take everything in stride. I'm just kind of like, like nice, and then like I'll be like excited for it, but like I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, wow, wow.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, oh, this is. I was like, oh, cool, because like I had no like idea if I was gonna get through, and I was like, I was like, cool, like whatever happens, happens. It's like literally just like a TV show. Um, so I was just like, oh, that's nice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, did you know that Grace, and I don't know if any of your other friends had auditioned this season, but had you been aware throughout this process that she was also auditioning? Were you keeping in touch about that, or?
Yeah. So I'm the one that like convinced her to audition.
Oh, wow.
Because the same person that reached out to me reached out to her, and Grace was worried because she didn't want to be compared to Grace Kinsler from the previous season because they're both white and blonde and they sing soul. Um, and I told her, I was like, hey, like what do you have to lose? It's a TV show. If they want to air you, they are. If they're not going to air you. But I was like, I think you should do it because you don't ever want to be like, well, what if I would have done this? So with that, she chose to like go through and do the audition, which I'm very glad because there's no one else that that I think at the time I would have wanted to have done the process with. But it's also just so cool to like watch her grow and like learn and kind of experience this as well. So yeah, I was like, hey, audition. And then like a few of my other friends auditioned, but they didn't get through. But yeah, Grace, yeah,
Did you guys both get sent to the same city for judges auditions, or did you go separate places?
yeah. So we flew together, so we were on the same flight. We both went to Nashville and did the audition in like November. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that is definitely fun because I don't think I've talked to anybody who got to go with somebody else to an audition. Is that helpful? I mean, I don't know if you're the type to get nervous in these situations, but having somebody there with you, I'm sure that it adds a lot to the experience, if anything.
No. Yeah, for sure. I like so since it was in Nashville, um mom also drove up from Atlanta. She uses it's like 4 hours because she wanted to be there. And listen, I don't have any say in what she does. I just kind of have to like let her do. I'm like cool,
Mom's gonna do what mom's gonna do.
like, very much. So she I say with mom in the hotel, and then Grace was like a few floors away from me, but it's definitely very fun to have gone on this like experience with her because I think it's just always cool to kind of go, especially like something as cool as like Idol with like one of your like closest friends. So it was just like a very good time to like because we were a bunch of like laughter, and it was always just like fun and like good vibes. Yeah, but I wasn't really nervous or anything, so it was just like okay, I was like, oh yay, I get to go with my friend and we can just like party and kiki and like have a grand old time. Yeah.
Wow. Well, obviously you met a lot of other cool people when you got there, so I want to hear about some of the friendships that you made with other contestants in Nashville.
Yeah, you've talked to some of them, I think. Like besides Grace, Danny,
Hmm.
he's so fantastic. He was actually the first person that me and Grace met. We met him in the airport, like right when we got off at like no, at like the bag baggage claim. That's and he was super sweet, and we kind of just like hit it off. We kind of like meshed, and he was kind of like a nice little like face to kind of like turn to when like we didn't know who to like talk to. But besides Danny, we also met. I believe she was there. Zia Blue.
Hmm.
She is fantastic. She's so insane talented. We met her, and she knew of me, I think, through my acapella group Pitch Lab, which was insane. But she is such a great spirit, and like is so like just like down to earth and like funny and nice. It was just really good to kind of have her. Like the tribe was like me, Grace, Danny, Zia. We had another friend, Louisa, but I can't remember if we met her in Hollywood or if it was in Nashville. I'm not sure, but yeah, Danny and Zia, and then like a friend I met, like who's also really insane. He's LA Finn Hudson, I believe is his name. I'm really bad at names, but I believe it's Finn Hudson, and he's so dope. He's really cool. He was, kind of like we had similar vibes, so we also kind of clicked too. But yeah, Danny and Zia were like the homies, and it was like, hey guys, and we kind of just like chatted up and talked. Yeah. Oh, and Skylar,
Yes.
also met yeah, fantastic. Love him to death. He's so great. I was like, there's someone that I'm missing, but yeah, it's so insane how like you can meet these people just like at this thing, and now like of course we're all busy and adults, but like we'll still be like, hey, and like we'll comment and stuff on each other's posts, and like I'll like message Zia or Dan like here and there whenever I get a chance, and it's so like crazy how like human connections work, and like just how you can find like common interests and like vibe and kind of meet with like people, and like months like later like I'm still like, wow, they were like a good hang or something. So it's always nice, and I appreciate that part the most out of Idol, was making friends and kind of meeting people. It's so different like off camera. Just like watching the show, it's so different. Like it's a lot more. It's a lot less dramatic than they make it out to be.
Yes.
Which I mean, listen, I get you have to make a TV show. I I would, if it was me, I'd be like, okay, how can we get this to be like? But it's like super like chill for a lot, like a bunch of it. We're just like talking around and like having jokes, and it's like whatever. Like the most stress we'll have is like when we're going on stage, but like besides that, we're just like, okay, cool. Like
Hmm.
like we would just like sit around and just like kind of just like laugh and like joke and just like play like games on our phones.
Yeah.
And it was yeah, it was just like it's like not like one big family, but it's like everyone is here, and like for the most part no one has bad intentions, and we're just all trying to just like figure out what's going on, because like you know like none of us know what's happening. We're just like, cool. It was very interesting to like see how it like appeared on TV versus in person, and it's honestly quite impressive how they like make it look. Because I was like, this is not at all the vibe that it was. The show kind of paints it, and they want the like contestants to kind of get on camera and be like, I'm gonna make it to the next round of American Idol. Just you watch. And it's like, no, all of us are kind of like, hey, um, this is my name. Hopefully, I make it through. Party. That's kind of at least for me and like my friends, we were just like, cool. Like we have no clue, and like I'm like it was very. I'm like, remember the times when like one of the confessionals, they wanted me to be like, I'm gonna make it through, and I was like, no, can I just say that like like I hope to make it through, because I was like, I don't know if I can make it through, but I like hope I do, but like none of us, very few people were like, I'm gonna get through the next round. I'm best of it. It was, yeah, it like definitely isn't that vibe at all.
Well, I think that if there's anything I've learned from this podcast is that it really is not a given, because for every aired contestant that just has this phenomenal voice, I've had my socks knocked off by the talent that was never shown for 1 minute. So to be there, you were there, you witnessed so many performances from contestants who probably could win the whole thing if you just think about the performances that you saw. And yet they didn't even get screen time. So nothing's a given.
Yeah, nothing is, yeah, like nothing, because there's so many people that like didn't get through, that me and like Grace and Danny would just like, how? So it's like I think it's just simply a matter of if you're right for the show, and if the producers think that because if you have a good backstory or like a good sob story, or if you are someone that they can kind of like market and like profit from, then you're probably gonna like and like that sounds bad because like they're like all the like the people that have made it to like the top rounds are like phenomenal. Like the winners are all insane. But I think that like it definitely helps if like the producers think that they can work with something that you have. So I think it's just kind of like whether they go yeah or they go nah. I think it just kind of depends on like what they see.
You just mentioned the confessionals and the interviewing, so a lot of that went on during auditions, not to mention B-roll and, whether it's your main interview or all the different shots they needed to get of you. Did you enjoy all of that, the stuff that was not the actual audition?
More or less, yeah. I'm um I didn't dislike it. I knew that. I mean, I think with me, I knew that it was a part, like in integral part of the process. So like I was gonna have to do interviews and confessionals. I always get a little like anxious about talking because I have two speech impediments. I have a stutter, and I have like sometimes when I say R's, they sound like W's, and I was in speech therapy for like 9 years, so of course it's a lot better than it was when I was like 6 when I first started because I could not get through a sentence. But it's still kind of like there's still like oh like am I gonna stutter really bad or whatever. And there were times when like we'd kind of like retape like because I like tripped up on a word so bad. But it was I think it I think it was cool. I was like okay like I was neither like upset about it or happy. But looking back, I am thankful because I'm so much better at just like speaking and like forming sentences and like kind of like answering questions like than I was before Idol. So it definitely has helped me with that stuff. So yeah, it was chill. It wasn't like but it wasn't like oh my god, yay! It was just like cool.
Now, which day did you get to go and audition for the judges?
Um, the very last day. So I think day I believe it was Monday. I can tell you the exact day. It was Monday, November. Scrolling back in my calendar, Monday, November 15th, and like that was the like very last day of like judge auditions in the entire season, and I was the third to last person to like audition.
Wow.
So
So, are you glad that that happened, or are you someone that would have liked to go earlier? What was your mentality having to wait that long?
I was just like, man, can we get it over with?
Yeah.
Um, it was just like, because I was like sitting there, because like like they have you be in like hair and like makeup by like 7, 8 a.m. Which for me, and I'm a night owl, so so like my like body clock is so late that like getting up at like 4 or 5 to like do like a full piece of makeup and like it was just like, but like it was fine. Like I think it can be pretty easy to like psych yourself out, especially if you're like going towards the end of the day. But I'm normally pretty level headed. So I was just like, mom was like, "Are you stressed?" And I was like, "No," kind of just like playing like games on my phone. I think um, mom was more like anxious than me. She was like, "Oh," and I was like, it's fine. I'm chill." Um, but I mean, I couldn't have changed it, so I'm like, cool. Like, but I think had I gone earlier in the day, it would have been a little nicer because I could have just like not been like sitting in like the corner. Like it gets to a certain point where it was like it was so late and like you see all these like me and Skylar like whatever because me and Skylar were like two of the last ones to go and you see the people's like getting called and they're just it's just like time is just passing. So it was just more like I'm just like bored and I and I want to go ahead and sing and be done with it. So yeah.
What's your favorite phone game?
Listen, let me tell you right now, because I delete a lot of them because I get them for like a week and then I take. It's like like the ones where like they have like the people like running on their like beam and it's like you have to like do
I was just gonna
things.
say, is it Subway Surfers?
It's like basically Subway Surfers, basically. Subway Surfers or like Temple Run.
Temple Run. Yes. Oh my God, our brains are aligned. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I have this, but like thing with me is that like I'm gonna play Subway Surfers for 30 minutes every 6 years. And like in that time was just that was my moment. And I was like, I'm gonna just and I just, and like I went like between just like playing that and then like I was like because I read a lot too, so I was just like reading like random little books online and just like passing time. I was like, I just want to go, but yeah.
I remember like being 9 years old, and the best way to pass the time was on your iPod Touch, whatever games you could get from the App Store, and however many gigabytes you had on that thing. If you were lucky, if you had like 120 gigabytes, or even if you had just like 56 or
64.
whatever, or six, yeah,
64.
64.
No, I remember I got the iPod Touch for Christmas in 2010. So I had like just turned 10. And that like and it had like I think it was like 32 like I think it was, yeah, like 32 gigs. And I was like, "Oh, I am like you couldn't tell me anything." And I had so many games and I was just like, "Oh, for iPod Touch." And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"No, it's so cool." And yeah, that just brought back like a very like locked away memory. Yeah, that's insane.
And the fact that you had to plug it into your laptop to download songs.
Listen, listen. Or you had to like, or like back when like you had to like buy songs and you couldn't, and there was like no streaming. I remember like being like 10 or like 11, 12, and like being afraid to ask mom to like buy an album because I thought that like 15 was like a lot of money, and
Uh-huh.
now being like my rent, like I like imagine me at that age thinking that me now is like that's nothing. It's so insane because like I would be like, oh, like I want this song, and it was like $1.29, and I was like, this is so much,
Yeah.
and now I'm like, yeah.
Cause yeah, or they had some that were 99 cents, but most were $1.29. And if you wanted to buy like you had to buy like an episode of a TV show because they didn't have Netflix streaming, or if you wanted to buy a whole season, it was like $25.
Listen, I did that. And I still have um the entire fourth season of Phineas and Ferb on my phone, on my Apple, because I bought it and I was like, I need that season. And I also have Transformers 3 and Tokyo Drift and Twilight Eclipse. I have a lot of movies. Like I actually was like, no, like I'm gonna, because I was gonna, like I want to watch movies and I want the whole experience. So I definitely was that kid that had like seasons of shows on the iPod and was just like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm the ultimate OG Idol fan because back in the day when they would put performances of the songs on iTunes, I downloaded them, and now they're like nowhere to be found, not even on YouTube. But I could just go on my phone, even my iPhone 13, you can just go to the music app and download from the cloud like a 2009 American Idol performance. So
Yeah, you're ahead of the curve. Yeah. I wasn't hip onto American Idol because back then I was like, The Voice is the place to be, which low key none of them are the place to be because it's a TV show either way. But I was like The Voice, but I think, yeah, I was so not hip to that. You were definitely like ahead of all of us, I think.
mhm. I mean, that was before The Voice even came out. I'm talking like 2008, 2009. So I'm like a child, and
Yeah,
the 16-year-old contestants look like giants to me because I'm 8 years old, and
no, you
now I'm
were hip.
like their babies. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, no, you were hip. You were hip.
it was fun taking a trip down memory lane.
Yes, it was.
All of our listeners who are a little bit older are gonna be like, okay, this is not funny because we had to actually get like record players or CDs or
But are like the ones that are like like kind of like our age, like 22, 23, 24. They'll be like, yeah. They'll be like, yeah. But then you have the ones that are like 15 who are like, I don't know what this is.
no, yeah, and then that's when we feel old.
Listen, I feel so old sometimes, and I'm only 21, and I feel like just I'm like, how do you? Yeah,
No,
it's
me too. Okay, so do you ever think about like I remember I think it was either 2000 or 2010 when I had that first moment of being like, I can't believe it's 2010 already. So now I'll be like on a walk in the park and I'll see like a kid, even if like there's a kid that's 10, 11 years old, I'm like, they were born in 2010.
No, that upsets me. I feel like that should just not be allowed. I just no. I just think that it should just not be allowed because I don't understand. Like you're telling me I finished the entirety of Phineas and Ferb before you were even conceived? No.
Mm-mm. Even babies, just to think that they were born in 2021, that's a whole different thing. We're not
No.
even going to get into
I'm like,
that.
I'm like, put them back because it's not. I'm like, put them back. Just
Rewind, rewind.
exactly.
Don't make that baby. Oh my God, how did we get here? Okay, so one artist who was definitely on my iPod Touch was Katy Perry. You got to meet Katy Perry and Lionel Richie and Luke Bryan. So when you went in to see them, what was the vibe between you and the judges?
Okay, so first off, they are so pretty in real life. It is absurd. I was like, y'all are like dolls. Katy Perry is gorgeous, and I was like, I'm just like here in like front of y'all. It's just like I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like I'm just here, like chilling with y'all. It was definitely it was towards the end of the day. So like they weren't like super, they weren't like the most like kind. I hate saying
Oh,
this, but they were just like kind of like a bit like cold and like just like mechanically nice. I think in a sense, like nothing against them. I think like it was literally like it was a long day, so I can imagine them just being like exhausted. Um, but it was like I was like, hey, and because I walked in and they were talking at first, so I was like, hey, and I kind of
were they
spoke
having
up.
their own conversation?
Yeah, because I think they were like something like talking in between people, and I was just like, hey, what's up? How y'all doing? And they're like, oh, hi, and then it was yeah, but it was chill. Lionel's the sweetest. I think a lot of us will have that same sentiment that they're like, yeah, Lionel's just like, they all give good vibes, but like just like Lionel, I was just like, yeah, like homie. Um, but it was just kind of, I was just like, not like scared or like, but just like, I'm in the presence of celebrities and I'm on camera and this is my audition. It was just, just like that vibe. But it was, and then I also couldn't find, I think so. I couldn't find the, like where, like to stand. So it took me like a few seconds to like get it. And they were like, and I was like, sorry, got it. Yeah.
So I'm guessing the fact that they were kind of cold meant that there wasn't much sort of banter or I guess like much fun conversation before the actual singing began.
It wasn't a whole. I think there was like a little bit, but like not much at all. That yeah, it wasn't like because like I don't know. Grace mentioned like her having like banter with like Katie. Nope. There was little and or none banter to be had with me.
Hmm.
So I was like, hey, I'm Tyler Christian. This is my name. This is what I did. This is what and I'm gonna sing for you this song. So yeah.
Was it the Her song or were we doing something different for this one?
So for this round, I did two songs. I did Loved by You by Kirby, and then my backup was Rock with You. So, I was like, cool, I'm singing the song Loved by You. And this one was a stretch. Cause it's like it was a song that I was like, is my thought was I wanted to like do something that I thought they wanted to hear. So and I did the song. Cause it was like high and it's like, ooh. And they got done. I got done and and they were like, hey, like it was good, but like kind of just like it didn't like it didn't feel like it was you or like at home and kind of they were kind of iffy and I could sense that they wanted to kind of be like no and thankfully my casting the lady that casted me she texted me. It was like, hey, don't forget to fight for your spot and if like it's always okay to ask to do your second song. And I was like, all right. I was like, hey, like I have a second song if you want to hear it. And they're like, what is it? I was like, Rock with You by MJ. And they're like, yeah. And then I did that. And like immediately they were like, this is yeah. Like it kind of and like Katie was like Katie has the like funniest expressions and she was like and it was like okay. So that was so I did that one and it just was so much like I could it even like mean like it just felt better because I think that was a song that I would do on my own accord, not by what I thought that like they wanted to hear. And then after they were like, yeah, like it was gonna be like a no at first, but then you did that song and said yes, and I was like, I'll take it. So yeah, that was that process.
Do you think you kind of woke them up a little, got them out of their little funk, or do you think they were still like, all right, it's been a long day, let's just give them a yes and move on?
I honestly don't know. I think like it's probably a combination of the both. I think it was because they were like, cool, like you can sing, but like this doesn't really feel like you, and we didn't really get to see who you are as an artist with the song. And then with the second song, it kind of just it was just like better suited for my voice, and it was just like more the vibe, and I think they could kind of see more of like who I was, and they like liked that, but it could have just been like, listen, y'all, the day is let's wrap this up. So yeah, I think it was probably a bit of both.
And so was the feedback brief, or did they give you some constructive stuff?
Like it was just the same thing as the like producer round. It's like, listen, just like trust yourself and like bring Tyler because that's what they want to see. They don't want to see what So and I kind of told them I was like, yeah, this is kind of my thought process, and they were like, no, like do it, like what you want to do because it's about you, and it isn't about what like we want to hear. So it was kind of the same kind of like concept, and like that was kind of my critique for my entirety of being on the show was just like kind of like, hey, trust yourself, like like do what you want to do.
I remember that when they were doing the commercials for season 20, they had this sort of theme of it actually was kind of almost like outer space. They said it's like this season's going to be out of this world, and I'm kind of thinking about your interest in space from a young age and how it's kind of fitting that you were on the same season where their sort of promo. I mean, and they had like their key art for the season was Ryan Seacrest wearing. I think they were actually on the photoshopped, of course. They were on the moon. Ryan Seacrest had an astronaut helmet, and you loved this space stuff, and there you were on American Idol.
Maybe, like maybe if I told them that I love space, they would have kept me. I'm just kidding. I'm like, hey guys, I love space. I know what you're thinking for the promo. I could be good for that. I'll point out some constellations, some stars.
And I'll be the biggest star of all.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, hey, but yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it is really interesting. I saw that I was like, oh, space. I like
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. As far as Hollywood Week, a couple weeks later, must have been great to reunite with Grace and Danny and Zia and new folks. Did you meet new people when you got to Hollywood?
Yes, I did. So yeah, me and Grace, we like live like down the street from each other. So like I see her like every 2 seconds, and then we're also in the same acapella group. So there's like never cause like yeah, cause like I saw her like I was like, hey, like I'm gonna see you in like a day. But I met so one of my like close friends back home. We have like a mutual no this girl that I met, we have a mutual friend, um and he called me, was like, hey, how you? I was like, hey, I'm good, like I miss you, hope you're doing well. Then he was like, is this girl named Anaya Cheyenne. He was like, look behind you. I was like, oh, she's there. And then we like I kind of, because she's from like my area back home in Georgia. So he was like, hey, go talk to her, whatever. And then kind of did, and like me and her like just like hit it off because we were in the same genre, R&B. So it kind of just like worked well. And she's so like funny, and like me and her were just like cracking jokes the entire time. So she was definitely like a good friend that like, because like we knew of each other through like Instagram and like through other musicians from back home, but had like never like just like been in the same space um, before. So yeah, her Anaya, she's dope, and she's insane. She's so like good, and just like yeah, she's fantastic. And then who else? Katira, who was on, who like made it a good bit. Katira Love. She was also just so great, and she's so talented. All of the R&B people, me, Zia, Anaya, Finn, Katira, they were just really, really, really cool people. I actually like talked to Noah, the winner. It's so weird to be like, I talked to him, and now he's like no, like he's like he's
Yeah.
there now, and but he was so he was so sweet. I was like, hey, I was like I was like like you were great, like you're super talented. He's like, thank you so much and whatever. And then That was kind of like a brief little thing, but yeah, it was kind of like, and then also, like I said, Louisa, I cannot remember. I'm not sure if I met her in Nashville or in LA, but I believe it was Nashville. But I saw her again, and then it was just like great, and there was like all like good vibes, and it was kind of that whole like friend group, like me, Grace, Louisa, Zia, Skylar, Danny, in the hotel, beautiful hotel. That hotel was so nice. In like the waiting like conference place, like we kind of had like our same like group table that we like sat at and kind of just like vibed, and it was really cool.
Do you remember who else was in your? Actually, I think you already did. You mention all the names in your R&B line?
I mentioned there was like two that I just cannot remember. No, there's okay. There's so much more. Okay, I'm actually a liar. So there's in the whole R&B genre, like at least the ones I can remember, like off like top of the dome, is me, Katira, Anaya, Zia, Finn, Wendelin, Sailor, Aza, and then there were two others that I literally just mind. Two of the others that I'm like, but I just cannot remember for some reason. But they were so dope and so great. Yeah, our R&B, I'm gonna say had the best vocalists. But no,
Yeah.
like they were all like insane, and they were so like and just like wildly like talented and like studied, and it was just like once again like very like humbling to be in the like to share space with these like just like powerhouses of like people.
How did you enjoy the alumni mentoring? I believe you guys met Ruben Studdard, who won season 2. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that was cool. I wasn't like too educated on like who like won what season, but I
Right.
knew of him, and it was really cool. I was like, oh hey, because I like the thing with me is like I'm not gonna exactly know what's like happening all the time. Like you just like tell me to go somewhere. I'm like cool. I'll be there. I don't ask too many questions. But it was cool because he, kind of brought some like words of wisdom. It was like, hey, this is kind of like be yourself, and just like and because R&B was the smallest genre. I think it was like less than like 15 people or like something like it was tiny.
Mhm.
Um, and he was like, hey, like there's not a whole bunch of y'all, but just like kind of stick it out and just like kind of like trust yourself. And it was really cool because like that, but also that like when we like met him, that was the longest thing ever. Like we were probably on that balcony for like 4 or 5 hours. They filmed like a bunch of B-roll, took breaks, filmed some more B-roll, and then he like did like 5 or 6 entrances, and then there's a bunch of it was a lot. It was a long process, but they made it look really short. And then it was freezing cold, and my outfit was this like these like Dickies like shoes and then like this black tank top like under a like mesh like blue like zebra print like tank top kind of like muscle tee like so I'm cold and I was like listen y'all and like they had to get like give us like these little like hot hand thingies like the little like packets whatever because it was freezing. I was like I want to go inside right now but it was chill. But it was very cool just like to like see a winner be like, hey y'all, just keep singing songs. You're doing great. I was like, okay, cool.
How did the performance go? I want to hear what song you sang and how you feel it went. I don't know whether or not you got through yet this round, but tell me about it.
So I sang Earned It by The Weekend. And
Ooh.
I actually loved that performance. I low key, I think I did what I needed to do. It was yeah. I was like cool, and it kind of, like it was just the arrangement was dope, and the keys player was my favorite. He's so fantastic. Um, and yeah, like I went on stage, and I was nervous for like 5 seconds, and I was like, no, I'm fine. I was worried because like I couldn't hear myself on the stage, like low key, like I could only hear like the feedback from the house. I was like, hopefully, like it's all good, but I did what I did, and there was a moment where I'm just like I did like a run, and Katie was like, and I couldn't hear the because like when you're on stage, you like I know this, you cannot hear any of the reactions from the the house. You can't because like like we're all sitting in the house like watching people go up. I it was like they were not there because it was just like besides the bump 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 a bump I couldn't hear anything. But I did well. I was like and then I went after to like did like the post interview. I was like, hey, they're asking these questions and I was like, I did the best I could. Like hopefully I get through and but yeah, that was that. It was really cool. This song like for the first time like felt like all right, I'm doing something that I like want to do and like kind of feels good for me because that song I just love that song and it was just so I was like yeah like this is the one.
Now, what was the result of that performance?
I did not get through to the next round.
Okay.
So, which is perfectly, which I kind of knew. I was like, I figured, I was like, yeah, I'm not getting through. I don't know. I just had a feeling. I was like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna get through. And then it was pretty
Hmm.
chill. And yeah, and then, um, yeah, they called me and someone else up. I'll save it in case you want to interview this person. Um, but they called us up and it's just the two of us, and they were like, you two are not advancing. And I was like, cool. No, 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 no. Okay, what happened was they caught up everyone else but us. That's what it was. And then they look at me and I look at them, and we were just like, "Yeah, it's not happening." And then yeah, and they were like, "Tyler and are not advancing," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And that was true. And then I was just like, for me, I was just like excited that my friends in the R&B like genre got to go through. I was like, that's dope. Like, I just hope that they like that they get to kind of have fun because I was like, cool. Like, I can't be mad at it. Like, I mean, I guess I can, but like, I don't see a point in being mad at it. Like, I I got this far. That's pretty cool. And then after the interview was so funny because I was like calm. I was like, yeah, I'm like, hey, like how you doing? And she was like trying to be like, so like like what do you think went wrong? Like, and I was like, I don't know. Like the judges didn't give me a critique, so I don't know. It could be anything. I was like I'm not sure what you want me to like tell you. Um, and then like they wanted me to be like more upset, but I was just like, no, like I'm happy, like I feel good, like I'm chill. And then yeah, and then I went to go get my stuff, and one of the producers came up to me and was like, you were robbed, and I was like, it's like literally fine. Like it's not a huge deal.
Mm.
Um, and then yeah, I said goodbye to like the producers that were like kind of like over us, and they said some really sweet things to me. Whatever it was, because we were kind of nice to each other. They were like, I'll make sure. I was like, I'll make sure too, and it was yeah, and then it was good, and then that was the end of my journey. And then I packed my bags, and they booked me a ticket that night, and the next morning I was on a flight back to Boston, which is so funny because the second that they cannot like use you, they're like, "Hey, bye bye." But yeah, it was such a fun experience, and I have no like negative parts of the ex experience. I think, but I
Hmm.
think it's partially because I just went in with like not a single expectation because I was like, it's TV, and like I don't really have a choice over my fate in this show, and like I'm not gonna get upset with things that I can't affect. I was like, cool. And like it was just like more than anything. I was like, it was just so cool that like all I had to do was just like get up and be like pretty and like camera ready by like 6:30. That was the most of my worries. Like I had to put on a nice outfit, do my makeup, and just like I was like, cool, like party. I got to like live this like fantasy life for a few days in this very nice hotel, and I was like, cool, and yeah, that was my journey on Idol.
I know that you and Grace started this journey together. She also did not make it past the genre challenge. Did you guys go home together, or was it a separate
She
goodbye?
went home the day before me because she went on the Sunday and I went on the Monday.
Uh-huh.
Um, so she went home the morning that I got did not advance, and then I went home the next morning. Yeah.
Do you remember from sitting in the audience watching the other performers who any standouts were for you?
Leah Marlene, dope, insane. Um, Zia actually, like she went before me, no,
Hmm.
after me in the in my lines. She was her performance was so good, and I remember that like still was like in my head because it was so just like unique and it was so like so special. Um, who else? Delaney, Delaney Wilson. That girl is so stupidly talented. A lot of people in the folk genre, like I can't remember the name,
Hmm.
but like a lot of the folk kids, I was like, I'm scared of y'all because y'all are dumb, insane, sick, crazy, ill, psycho. Um, yeah, those were probably some of like my like favorites.
I think it's so important to be surrounded by musicians who have different styles. I know we talked earlier about the fact that it really is a melting pot, whether you're at school or you're at American Idol. And would you say that that's something that for you on a regular basis? Do you surround yourself with a lot of artists that are different, or do you think that you have more friends that are kind of in a similar lane than you, at least your musical friends?
Yes and both. I think there's being in Pitch Slapped, I'm the music director of Pitch Slapped, the acapella group here at Berklee. A lot of us kind of do find solace, solace, but like do find um like comfort and like enjoyment and like like good like R&B and like very like music that's like has like complex harmonies and like very just like cool like vocal lines. But then so many of my friends like my music director, like my MD and like drummer for like my own stuff, his like his own solo projects are like jazz fusion. My guitarist, like one of them is like a metal guitarist, one of them plays jazz fusion as well as like other things, and I also like sing. I recently performed at Lollapalooza,
Wow.
singing backgrounds for the singer Aida. She's from Norway, and she just got and like she like she's like full pop, but like good pop. So I think there's like really love a lot of types of music, so I try to like find like a lot of it because I just like there's so I think every genre is so like cool, and there's just like I'm so indecisive. So I'm always like I'm like instead of like one playlist of just this genre, what if I have a playlist where every single song is an entirely different vibe? Like I have a playlist where like one song is like Beyonce, the next song is like a Eric Whitaker like 10 part like choral arrangement, and then it's like country, and then jazz. It just kind of like goes everywhere. Um, but I think as far as my own stuff, at least as far as right now, I'm kind of the only one that like that like of my like circle that like does this kind of sound because it's like a mix of like rock slash metal and like R&B.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like and like it's just it's a sound that I definitely did not create. It's like it's very common for like R&B artists to like kind of have like a bit like kind of heavier like rock instrumentation in their like live arrangements, but it's not really done too much like within like like records, like songs that are like like not like live. So I think it's like and I think it's a lane that I just love, enjoy, and like my friends and peers like, hey, like this is something that like people aren't doing, so you kind of
Right.
like stick to this because it's for me a lot of people because especially the younger kids at Berklee are like really into the like singer songwriting like kind of like Lizzie McAlpine like kind of sound. Um, so like it's kind of like sometimes I get in my head about my like songwriting because like it isn't like super like metaphorical and it isn't as like nuanced as like these other styles, but then I have to kind of be like, okay, wait, this like what I'm doing is good, it's just isn't like theirs, which is not bad, it's just different. I kind of have to kind of keep like being like, okay, hey, like your art is valid and it is good, it's just not like folk, you know. So, but yeah, I think there's so much like around me that is it's so nice and it's so humbling and it's so like I learned so much from it because there's so many ways to like express the same emotion with like different like lyrics or like sounds or like chords, and it's just like, yeah, it's very nice.
Sounds like you got a really supportive circle around you.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They my yeah, my friends are very kind, and they kind of, like we all kind of like pour into each other and kind of like help, kind of like, but because like there's like a bunch of like mixing. Like my roommate, like he like co-writes and edits all my songs. Kind of he'll like I write a song and like he'll kind of go and kind of like with me, and like we'll tweak the lyrics, kind of make sure that it's like really good, because I'm such a perfectionist. And then uh, Grace at the moment is singing backgrounds for my music and my live shows. And then on the flip side, I'm for her shows, I am her vocal arranger. So I like arrange the entirety of like the background vocal lines, and I also sing backgrounds for Grace as well. And then like there's a lot of like interweaving. So like we're like very involved with like each other, which is nice because like it creates like a good like community to kind of like support each other. Yeah.
Hearing about this collaboration is so cool. It's like, hey, what do you need? What do you need? I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's that's literally what it is, and it's so insane because like and we take it for granted so much because there's truly no school like Berklee, and we kind of like take for granted like how like unique of an opportunity that we have it is. And it's like, okay, wait, like this is like something like this is like insane because like this is not common. And like I think we should like always like try to appreciate it like a lot more, because it's like few and like far in between.
It's your senior year, yeah? You just started?
Yeah, I start next Tuesday. I moved into this apartment like 2 days ago. Um, yeah, so one last year.
How are we feeling about that?
Feeling ready to like exit. I am so ready. Berklee has been so great of an experience, and I've learned so much, and I've made so many connections, and I think I'm such a different person like than when I like walked into Berklee. But I'm so ready and excited to like be out of Berklee and like be like actually just like full on like my stuff. And I say that now, but I am sure that in like a year I'll be like, wow, I hate being an adult. I want to go back to school because it's just like I get to have the comfort of college. But at least for right now, in my naive 21-year-old um, mind, I'm like, wow, I can't wait to be an adult and like doing music full time. But yeah,
I'm very interested to see what's next for you, because I think that you never know what's going to happen. You never know what songs you're going to create in the next year. And just as you said, you're always evolving. So we never know what's next from you, right?
yeah, I never know either. I just kind of take things in stride. Like my whole motto is, hey, like, and it's so bad. I need to have like a bit more of a plan. But I'm just like, the nature of my person is just to be like, cool, we're doing this now, dope. Um, like I recently got to open for Jade Nova, this artist, and she's so I've lived with her for like for so many years, and it was completely random because like she was like, hey guys, like I'm having like a contest to like open for my tour in these cities, and mom sent it to me because she's like, hey, do this, and I was like, and then I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I made a post. I was like, hey, this is me. I want to open for you. Cool. It's like said things and like whatever. And then she was like, hey, and then it was the day that we were flying out to Lollapalooza, and I did like almost missed the window to like confirm because I didn't see the DM, and it was like, hey, like, do you want to open for Jane Over? And I was like, yeah. So I just yeah, it's I'm just kind of just existing and like trying like to do things and just like yeah.
Existing is something that we should all be grateful for. We don't always have to have a plan. I think that you have the talent and I think that you have the drive. And if you have those two things, then it'll fall into place because
Yeah.
you're surrounded by people and an environment where you can thrive. And so if you have those tools and those resources and the people around you, you just never know. And I think that it's all about kind of maybe like taking a back seat and just letting the universe drive and see where it takes you.
Yeah, definitely. That's like my whole motto. Like my friends would tell you, I'm always like, hey, like just existing. Like that's kind of like my thing that I just say. Cause I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of like just here and like existing as a being in time and space.
Yeah. Before we go, Tyler, I want to hear one of your songs, and I'm really excited about this. So, can you tell me what song that I'm going to play?
I am gonna have you play "Caught Up," which is my first ever single I released last October. And it is the first single of my upcoming EP and or album. I have not chose which one yet. Yeah,
Anything you want to tell us about Caught Up?
yeah. So "Caught Up," I guess I'll just kind of like so the EP slash album project of songs is um like a concept project where like it kind of like talks, it kind of like is like the stages of like like going through like a separation and or breaking or like and or like a breakup with someone. I wrote it to be like as if you're like you're breaking up with like someone like you're dating, but it can also be interpreted as like breaking up with a friend, or even like breaking up with your past self and kind of becoming like a like new kind of improved version of yourself. And caught up is at a point is basically like when you reach that point with with someone where like like there's a problem and like they're not good for you and like they're just like it's just like not a good place to be in, but you keep coming back to this person and you can't seem to like just like break away, so like you're just like stuck and you're like and you like realize that you're like that you're also at fault because you like have not left, but you just like for some reason are stuck or caught up on this person. So
Mm,
that's what that song is about.
that's cool. I love that that automatically can connect with anybody, it sounds like, because we've all been there. It doesn't matter where you are in life. And, it's funny. I was just thinking about sort of the mainstream parts of the music industry, whether we're talking about the labels of the radio stations, all the execs that say, we need accessibility. You got to come up with a song that's accessible to the listener. And it's like, I say that with a little bit of humor, but also in all seriousness, I mean, that's obviously what I'm sure you've heard a lot of, I'm guessing, just like in classes and people saying like, when you write a song, like if you're looking for something that kind of has that mainstream appeal of like, oh, write a song about something that everybody can relate to from all different angles.
Yeah, I've I've heard it kind of here and there. So I don't major in songwriting, so I don't have as much exposure to it at Berklee. I major in performance and I minor in like recording and music production. So like there's kind of an emphasis. I think at least right now people like are like really into songs that are like super like particular and like about like or like one person or like one thing. I guess it kind of goes with like the whole like indie pop trend and kind of like what that those songs talk about. But there definitely is like with some people like hey, I think no, not that, but like people have told me that they appreciate that my song is like applicable in like so many different like scenarios, which is reassuring to me because I'm constantly like, wow, I suck at songwriting. So it's nice to like get like, like, hey, like you're actually doing a good job in this. But yeah, there is kind of that like depending on like what genre or stuff you're in, like there's a either an emphasis on like specificity or like being like broad and like it's a matter of like finding that like middle ground.
Yeah, totally. That's a good point. I think more about it's funny, your second audition song, Deja Vu, Olivia Rodrigo really set that trend in the pop world. I mean, she's so specific with her lyrics.
Yeah, she's yeah, you know exactly. You're like, yep, okay, cool. So I think yeah, she's definitely like pioneered that whole like I'm gonna be very detailed. I'm talking about this one person, and you all know who it is. And I'm gonna write this, and and I'm gonna talk about how we had like matching blue and green sweaters, and we would meet up on Tuesdays and watch like like
And
it's just
watch
like
Glee.
Like it's just like very like yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe I wonder if that's actually kind of accessibility in disguise. Maybe it does relate because a lot of people have
Those things that they
met up with their boo on a Tuesday and watched that show
yeah.
and eaten that snack.
Yeah, I think it's because like even if like people don't have that exact scenario, they can kind of like relate to the sentiment of like having these things that they did with this person that like no one else did. So I guess for them it kind of like brings that back. Is my
Hmm.
guess.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm super excited to hear Caught Up. I would love to give you the chance to plug your socials, to plug where people can stream music or anything else online that people need to know about from you.
Yeah. Um, my name is Tyler Christian again. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler Christian, and TikTok at Tyler Christian Official. Um, Spotify, Apple Music, all the platforms, just Tyler Christian. I have music coming out very, very soon. I have my first music video that dropped a few months back, where I did a reinterpretation of a Boy George and Culture Club song. Is out on the Berklee YouTube. Has like couple 100,000 like views, I think. But yeah, you can check me out there. Instagram is probably the best place because TikTok, I just can't. But yeah.
That's exciting stuff. I'm so pumped that I got to know you, Tyler. Before you guys go, if you've not already subscribed to American Idol Unaired, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any of the platforms, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. You can also leave a review on some of them or rate. 5 stars would be lovely, but any stars are fine, totally. And you can also watch these interviews on YouTube. Just type in American Idol Unaired. Again, very excited that this is our 50th episode. Before I play Caught Up by Tyler Christian, I just want to remind you that you can get caught up with some of our episodes if you want to go on YouTube, Apple Podcast, or Spotify. Again, there are now 50 episodes for you to check out. Tell a friend about it, share, and I am super grateful to all of you guys for listening, watching, wherever you have been checking out American Idol Nerd. Thank you guys so much. And right now, we're going to play Caught Up by Tyler Christian. So Tyler, thank you so much for being a part of American Idol Nerd's 50th episode.
Thank you for having me. It's been so fun and it's been lovely.
Thank you, my friend.
I'm playing with fire, I knew it. I should have seen it when we met, but my desire, it blew it. You clouded my judgment. Thought I wasn't gonna fall for it. Thought I wasn't gonna be the next victim, but boy, I was wrong. You're no good for me. You drain my energy, a devil in disguise, all dressed in white. I think I'm losing my mind. I'm caught up on you, yeah, I'm caught up, and I can't seem to come to. I just wanna shut off my brain. I don't wanna feel this way, but I can't come down. Yeah, I knew it, I was getting myself into, or at least I thought I did. I never thought I'd heard from someone like you. I never thought you'd fuck me over. If I did, best believe that we'd be over. Last thing I wanna be is sober, and I hate that I still need closure. You're no good for me. You drain my energy. You drain my energy. Caught up on you, yeah, I'm caught up, and I can't seem to come to. I just wanna shut up my brain. So damn tired of this cage, but I can't come down. Told you not to play with fire, 'cause you're gonna get burned. Told you not to lay with lies, stay away from the wild ones. Told you not to play with fire.